What if the only thing holding you back was you? What if the moment you've been waiting for isn't coming because you're meant to create it yourself? And what if the key to changing your life is to act before you feel ready? Sometimes, the hardest truth to face is this: the gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't luck. It's not timing, it's not talent, it's your decision, the one you make right now, to step up and claim more for yourself. The Stoics knew this well. Epictetus, one of their wisest voices, taught that while we can't control what life throws at us, we can control how we respond. And today, we're going to explore one of the most transformative responses you can choose: the decision to act as if you are already the best version of yourself. Let's be honest, we all wrestle with doubt, that quiet but persistent voice inside that whispers, "You're not ready, you're not good enough." But what if readiness isn't something that arrives? What if it's something you become through action? The truth is, greatness isn't something you wait for. It's something you step into, with the mindset that you already carry the strength and potential you need. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, didn't just talk about this. They lived it every day. They reminded themselves to focus on what they could control, and to act with virtue, regardless of circumstance. This video is your invitation to do the same, to embrace a mindset that can completely change the way you approach your goals, your challenges, and your life. And no, this isn't about pretending to be something you're not. It's about discovering who you already are underneath all the fear and hesitation. So stay with me, because what we're diving into today isn't just another motivational cliche. It's a Stoic truth that could unlock everything you've been reaching for. And hey, if you find value in this journey, hitting that subscribe button is a small way to support what we're building here, and it means a lot. Let's dive in. The moment you make the decision to show up as your best self is the moment your life begins to shift. You stop waiting for the perfect time. You stop blaming the world for what it hasn't given you. Instead, you make an internal choice, one that says, "I'm going to raise my standards." Right here, right now, this echoes one of the core Stoic teachings, that our real power lies not in changing the world around us, but in changing how we respond to it. Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And that's the heart of this mindset. Choosing to be your best doesn't mean striving for perfection or trying to outdo everyone else. It means creating your own internal standard, one rooted in growth, integrity, and consistency. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful emperors in history, lived this principle. He pushed himself not for glory or praise, but because he believed in living with virtue, day after day. When you choose to act like the best, you're not saying you'll never make mistakes. You're saying you will meet those mistakes head on and use them to become stronger, wiser, better. The Stoics saw obstacles not as roadblocks but as stepping stones. And this mindset turns adversity into your greatest teacher. The real transformation happens not in some far-off future, but in the moment you decide to act with purpose and confidence, right now. Everything else flows from that decision. You begin to carry yourself differently. Your actions start aligning with your goals. You get closer and closer to the person you know you can be. And when I say, act like the best, I don't mean walking around like you're better than everyone. Not even close. In fact, it's the opposite. This isn't about the ego. It's about excellence. It's about holding yourself to a higher standard, not to impress others, but to honor your own growth. Imagine a world-class athlete or a skilled artist. Their confidence doesn't come from arrogance. It's calm, quiet, and earned through effort, discipline, and self-mastery. That's what we're talking about here. Think of how Marcus Aurelius led his life. Despite his immense power, he remained a student of life, always working to grow, to improve, to act with humility. He didn't believe in pretending to be perfect. He believed in striving for progress. Acting like the best isn't about claiming you know everything. It's about walking into each challenge with the quiet conviction that you can handle it. That belief influences everything: your posture, your tone, your decisions, and the world starts to respond. The Stoics understood that confidence isn't loud, it's rooted in alignment. When your actions reflect your values, when you know you're giving your best effort, that's where true confidence lives. Arrogance tries to raise you above others, but this mindset, it lifts you up to your own highest potential. And let's be real, some of you might be thinking, but I'm not the best. I'm nowhere near it. And that's perfectly okay, because here's the beautiful part. You don't have to be the best to act like the best. This isn't about faking it or being delusional. It's about recognizing that mindset shapes behavior. And when you begin to believe in your potential, you start unlocking it. That's exactly what the Stoics taught. We may not control what life throws our way, but we absolutely control how we face it. So even if you're not at the top right now, you can still choose to approach each moment with confidence, discipline, and purpose. And once you start doing that, once you carry yourself like someone who belongs where you want to be, everything changes. You begin to believe it, and when you believe it, you move toward becoming it. This isn't some mystical mantra. It's backed by real psychology. Your beliefs shape your behaviors, and your behaviors reinforce your beliefs. It's a loop, and it's powerful. Take something as simple as a job interview. If you walk in doubting yourself, slouching, second-guessing every word, chances are it's not going to go well. But if you walk in with presence, if you believe you're the right person for the role, you project that belief, and even if you don't land the job, you've already strengthened your confidence and resilience for the next one. So when that voice in your head says, "I'm not the best," remember, that's not the point. The point is to act as if you are, because in doing so, you align your choices, your habits, and your energy with the person you want to become. The Stoics were clear. Life isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about waking up each day and choosing to get a little better, to live a little wiser than the day before. This mindset, this decision to act as if you're the best, doesn't mark the end of your journey. It marks the beginning of a new one rooted in discipline, humility, and relentless self-improvement. And as Seneca once wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live. No matter how skilled you become, there's always room for growth." The best in any field, whether it's business, sport, or philosophy, never stop learning. They never stop improving. They remain students. So when you choose to act like the best, you're not pretending, you're declaring, "I will show up as the version of me who is capable, and I will keep showing up better each time." Now that you understand how powerful this shift in mindset can be, it's time to go even deeper. In the next part, we'll explore the Stoic principles that teach us how to face guilt, adversity, and outside influence, and turn them into fuel for our inner strength. Ready to continue, now that we've embraced the mindset of acting like the best version of ourselves? The next step is to ask, how would that version of you show up in everyday life? It begins with one powerful question: what would the best version of me do right now? How would the best partner respond in a disagreement? How would the best parent show up for their child? What kind of choices would the best friend make when someone needs support? This isn't about putting on a performance or pretending to be perfect. It's about striving daily, intentionally, to grow into the version of yourself that you know you're capable of becoming. In your health, it means treating your body like it already belongs to someone who's in peak condition. If you truly believed that you were strong, disciplined, and thriving, what foods would you eat? How would you move your body? What habits would you drop? And what new ones would you build? The Stoic path is deeply rooted in self-discipline. And discipline isn't about restriction, it's about alignment. It's choosing long-term well-being over short-term comfort. Now, when you hear, act as if you're the best, it might sound like you're just faking it. But here's where Stoic wisdom comes in. What you consistently do, you eventually become. Seneca once said, "We become what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. That's not just philosophy, that's psychology. Practice creates patterns. Patterns shape identity. Identity changes destiny. Think about it. At first, acting like the best might feel awkward, even inauthentic. You may wonder, who am I to act this way? But the Stoics believed that we are shaped by our habits, not by our doubts. Confidence, discipline, focus, these aren't innate traits. They're cultivated, rehearsed, strengthened over time. When you consistently act with purpose, you start to feel purposeful. When you behave with confidence, you begin to build confidence. It's just like training a muscle. The first few reps are shaky. You might feel uncomfortable, even weak. But with repetition, you build strength, and soon enough, what once felt forced becomes natural. That's the same with acting like your best self. Every time you carry yourself with excellence, you reinforce that identity, and little by little, it becomes less of a mindset you're borrowing and more of a truth you're living. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic teachers, reminded his students constantly, we cannot control the world, but we can control our response to it. And with repeated practice, we become aligned with the person we aspire to be. Let's say you want to be more confident in social settings. At first, it might feel staged, like you're pretending to be someone you're not. But if you keep showing up with your shoulders back, speaking with clarity, listening with presence, eventually, it stops being an act. It becomes who you are. The same principle applies to every area of life. Want to be healthier? Start by making healthy choices before you feel like a healthy person. Want to be more financially stable? Practice money habits before you feel rich. The Stoics taught us that we don't have to wait for change. We create it through deliberate, consistent action, one decision at a time. Over time, what begins as effort becomes effortless, and what once felt like a stretch becomes your new standard. This idea isn't about denying your flaws. Far from it. In fact, acting like the best means having the courage to confront your weaknesses head-on. The Stoics were masters of this. They believed that self-awareness is the root of all growth. Marcus Aurelius put it beautifully. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Part of that strength is being honest about where you fall short, not so you can criticize yourself, but so you can improve. The best performers in any field, athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, they aren't the ones who pretend they're flawless. They're the ones who see their flaws clearly and use them as fuel. The Stoics saw obstacles as teachers. They knew that struggle isn't a detour, it's the path. And your weaknesses, those are invitations to build discipline, deepen focus, and rise above who you were yesterday. If you ignore your flaws, they grow in silence, but if you face them, you shrink their power and grow yours. This path requires humility, because acting like the best isn't about thinking you've arrived. It's about committing to always be arriving, to always be evolving. Seneca often wrote that failures are our greatest teachers. They strip away illusion, they highlight what still needs work, and in doing so, they move us closer to mastery. So don't see your weaknesses as burdens, see them as blueprints. You're not here to be perfect, you're here to improve. Every setback, every flaw, every fall is a chance to rise better than before. And when you adopt this mindset, one of disciplined, resilient growth, you don't just change yourself, you change the people around you. 2. The Stoics believed in sympatheia, the idea that all human beings are connected. that your growth isn't isolated, it ripples outward. When you raise your standards, others notice. When you walk with confidence and humility, you silently give others permission to do the same. Your presence becomes inspiring, not because you're preaching, but because you're practicing. We all know how it feels to be around someone who carries themselves with quiet strength. It lifts us, encourages us, reminds us of what's possible. That's what acting like the best really means. Becoming the kind of person others naturally look up to, not out of envy, but out of admiration. And it doesn't stop there. Because even when failure comes, and it will, the Stoic mindset doesn't flinch. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, failure isn't the end, it's the path forward. The best among us don't avoid failure, they learn from it. They welcome it as a teacher. So when life knocks you down, and it will, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What can I learn from this?" As Epictetus said, we may not choose the outcome, but we always choose our response. Respond with resilience, and you come back stronger. Every fall is an opportunity to rise with more wisdom, more clarity, more strength, because that's the Stoic way. Acting like the best isn't a single choice. It's a daily commitment, a morning ritual, a lifestyle. Marcus Aurelius urged himself, and this, to wake each day with intention. To recognize that simply being alive is a gift, that each day is a chance to live with purpose. You don't need to wait for a better version of yourself to magically appear. You begin becoming that person the moment you decide to act like them. Consistency builds character, and character shapes destiny. So no, this isn't arrogance. This isn't false confidence. This is about aligning your daily actions with the potential you already carry inside. And as you do that, you raise the bar in your work, your relationships, your mindset. That's the Stoic legacy, not perfection, but progress, not ego, but effort. So every morning, ask yourself, how would the best version of me approach this day? Then live the answer, one small, deliberate action at a time. Thank you for being part of this journey. If this video helps you in any way, please consider subscribing. It helps support the channel and brings Stoic wisdom to more people like you. And if you're ready for more, check out the next video on your screen. We dive even deeper into Stoic tools for real-world challenges. Stay disciplined, stay grounded, and remember, greatness isn't out there, it's already within you. See you in the next one.